As a child with a Christian but non-Catholic upbringing, I never prayed the Rosary. I felt it was too repetitive. It was only when I started working on the various Marian Shrines and came across the shrine of Our Lady of Fatima did I start praying the Rosary. It was, however, more because Mother Mary asked us to pray the Rosary and not because I understood the reason why. When I asked around, quite a few said that praying the Rosary answers prayers. Others did it as a sense of duty, while some didn't pray the Rosary at all. I decided to delve a little into the history of the Rosary to educate myself, and to share this journey with you all, I have created this video. I am sure that understanding the history of the Rosary and the reasons behind each of the prayers will help us have a more meaningful prayer. Firstly, the word Rosary comes from the Latin word rosarius, which means garland or a bouquet of flowers. The word bead is an Old English term that originally meant a prayer. So rosary beads actually means a garland of prayers, which I think is so apt and beautiful. Prayers using beads or stones have always been used since time immemorial across many religions. In the 3rd and 4th century, devout Christians used the Pater Noster cord to pray the 150 psalms, which were recited daily by Christian monastics in the praying of the canonical hours. As many of the laity and even lay monastics could not read, they substituted 150 repetitions of the Lord's Prayer for the Psalms, sometimes using a cord with knots on it to keep an accurate count. By the 7th century, prayers to Mary became more common. The earliest known prayer to Mary is the Sub Tuum Praesidium, which begins with the words, "Beneath your compassion we take refuge." Pope Gregory the Great, between 590 and 604 AD, popularized an earlier version of the Hail Mary prayer by taking it to be prayed on the 4th Sunday of Advent. Many individuals began praying the Hail Mary in a repetitive fashion, using a string of beads to keep track of the prayers. Around 1075, Lady Godiva in her will referred to the circlet of precious stones which she had threaded on a cord, in order that by holding them one after another, she might count her prayers exactly. It is also recorded that Ibert of Crespin, who died in 1140, recited 150 Hail Marys daily, 100 with the bending of the knee and 50 with prostrations. During the Middle Ages, evidence suggests that both the Our Father and the Hail Mary were recited with prayer beads. In the 13th century Paris, 4 trade guilds existed of prayer bead makers who were referred to as Pater Nosterers, and the beads were referred to as Pater Noster cords, suggesting a continued link between Our Father and the prayer beads. It is, however, widely believed that the Rosary we use today was presented to Saint Dominic in 1214 in a vision of Mary, where she is said to have presented him with the Rosary, that is, both the beads and the prayers to be prayed. Saint Dominic had a tremendous devotion to Mary and the Rosary, which he promoted wherever he traveled to preach. He encouraged Catholics to gather in small groups to pray together what was an early form of the Rosary together. These were quite possibly the first expressions of prayer groups and small group communities that are still having a powerful impact today. This fact was substantiated in 1977 by a theologian named Andreas Heinz, who discovered a Vita Christi Rosary that dated to 1300, suggesting the origin of the current Rosary extends back at least to that time. Throughout history, we see numerous instances for people devoted to Mother Mary praying and preaching on the power of praying the Rosary. Louis IX of France, between 1214 and 1270, knelt down every evening 50 times, and each time he stood upright, then knelt again and repeated slowly an Ave Maria. In the 12th century, the rule of the English anchorites, the Ancrine Viz, specified of how groups of 50 Hail Marys were to be broken into 5 decades of 10 Hail Marys each. Gradually, the Hail Mary came to replace the Our Father as the prayer most associated with the beads. Eventually, each decade came to be preceded by an Our Father, which further mirrored the structure of the monastic divine office. The practice of meditation during the praying of the Hail Marys is attributed to Dominic of Prussia between 1382 and 1460. He was a Carthusian monk who called it Life of Jesus Rosary. The German monk from Trier, added a sentence to each of the 50 Hail Marys already popular at his time, using quotes from the scriptures. Promoted by his superior and others, his practice became popular among Benedictines and Carthusians from Trier to adjoining Belgium and France. In 1475, the Dominican priest Alain de Roop helped to spread the devotion in France, Flanders, and the Netherlands. He founded his first brotherhood for praying his Psalter in Douai in 1470. In 1475, James Prenger formed one of the first Rosary confraternities in Cologne. Rosary confraternities in Venice and Florence were formed in 1480 and 1481. In the 16th century, Rosary confraternities for women spread in France and Italy, partly because women were excluded from most other societies and because this type did not involve common masses or processions, only private prayer. In 1571, Pope Pius V called for all of Europe to pray the Rosary for victory at the Battle of Lepanto, in which the Christian belligerents included the Papal States. The Christian victory at Lepanto was at first celebrated as the Feast of Our Lady of Victory on October 7th, but was later renamed Our Lady of the Rosary. In 1569, Pope Pius V officially established the devotion to the Rosary in the Catholic Church. Peter Canisius, a doctor of the Church, who is credited with adding to the Hail Mary the sentence, "Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners," was an ardent advocate of the Rosary and promoted it as the best way to repair the damage done to the Church by the Reformation. From the 16th to the earlier 20th century, the structure of the Rosary remained essentially unchanged. There were 15 mysteries, one for each of the 15 decades. In the 17th century, the Rosary began to appear as an element in the key pieces of Roman Catholic Marian art. Key examples include Murillo's Madonna with the Rosary at the Museo del Prado in Spain, and the statue of the Madonna with the Rosary at the Church of San Nazaro Maggiore in Milan. Several Roman Catholic Marian churches around the world were also named after the Rosary. For example, Our Lady of the Rosary Basilica in Rosario, Argentina, the Rosary Basilica in Lourdes, Nossa Senhora do Rosário in Porto Alegre, Brazil, etc. In 1700, Louis de Montfort, known for his devotion to Mother Mary, began preaching on the power of the Rosary to help you connect with Jesus through his mother. In the 20th century, the addition of the Fatima prayer to the end of each decade became popular. In 2002, John Paul II instituted 5 new luminous mysteries. Today, billions of people pray the Rosary across various religions and denominations of the Christian faith. This only proves its ability to heal and answer prayers. So what are the various prayers that form the Rosary? When were they added to the Rosary? What is the history behind them? Why do we repeat them so many times? And why are they interspersed with other prayers? Let's understand that in the next part. Thank you.